Hello and welcome to this overview of Exit's tools and resources for our brokers and associates. My name is Sharron Richardson and I'm the Vice President of Broker Services for Exit Realty Corp International. I'm going to take the next 15 or 20 minutes and go over a couple of resources that we have that will give you a good overview of everything that we offer. Before we get started, I just want to show you that these particular resources are set out in a digital format online so that it's very easy to use. Our broker owners either work their way through the content almost like a workbook, and it can actually be printed off in PDF version and you can use it as a workbook, or sometimes our brokers will just go through this online and just work their way through over a period of time, and it's set out in 8 weeks. But let's say you're looking to find some information very quickly. You can simply type in, let's say for example you were looking for recruiting information. Just type in the word recruiting and all the areas in the plan where we discuss recruiting pop up for your access. Super easy to find. Or let's say you're looking for a business plan. You pop that in there and you'll see that everything that relates to a broker business plan would pop up. So it's really easy to use, whether you want to use it sort of as laid out or whether you need information right away at your fingertips. So what I'm going to do is just give you an overview of some of the tools and resources that we talk about in this particular plan. The first section of the plan is general information, such as how to use the manual, connecting with us, so a contact list, all of our social accounts, description of our exit system and what that is comprised of, resource center, login credentials, etc. And then we get into the actual data inside the plan. So in week 1, we talk about all about you. Exit is a holistic company, and what I mean by that is we look at the whole person. It's not just about the business. We also believe in bringing the best you to your business, because your business can only do well when you do that. So we cover a number of things that we offer in terms of all about you. I'm going to just highlight the DISC program in this section. So DISC is exit speak. We use this all throughout our documentation and collateral, digital collateral as well. And what we want to do with DISC personality profiles is actually arm the agents and you, the broker owner, with information so that you know who you're talking to. So whether it's you as a broker, you're sitting in front of a prospect in terms of bringing an agent in that you're trying to recruit, or maybe it's one of our agents who is looking to get a seller or a buyer customer turned into a client. We'd like to provide information so that you can both sum up that individual sitting in front of you and see what is their communication style, how do they like to be spoken with. And so let's say for example you can determine very quickly whether or not they are a bottom line person. You can see that they just want to get it done, they want the bottom line information so that they can carry on and make a decision or move to the next point. Or maybe this individual, you can tell that they're the kind of individual who wants a lot of detail. They're going to have a lot of questions and they need that detailed information to feel comfortable. So if you're arming the broker with that information or the agent with that information, it immediately creates or sort of strengthens that connection, because they're speaking in a language that that individual is comfortable with and responds to. So DISC is something we talk about and feel very strongly about in terms of it being a wonderful way to make connections. In week 2, we talk about running a professional office. So of course, the standards that you set in your office are going to be set by you. And as you know, like attracts like. So what we always do is we recommend that you run an extremely professional office, put everything in place, and set your standards high. And we've offered some tools to help you do that. So for example, right off the bat, we have the broker business plan. This is absolutely crucial to any brokerage, to have in place a plan to know where you want to go and have it written down so that you can monitor it and measure it as you're going along to make sure that you're on track. And part of that business plan is the path to profitability worksheet, and I'm going to show you that here. This is contained within the broker plan, but it's also, it's just a small portion of the plan, but it's also a separate piece here. So for example, here's the filled out version, and above it is a blank that you can print out and work on yourself. And what we're looking at here is your average monthly overhead, and of course these are just examples, and then the desired monthly profit, and you add that together. So for example, if you were looking for $25,000 a month to come in, and of course that's different in every market, you would then reverse engineer that based on the general commission or the basic or typical commission that comes in, how many ends or sides an agent does per month. You can reverse engineer that and determine how many agents you need working at a certain level in order for you to meet this goal. So we believe very strongly strongly in measuring and putting it down in writing and knowing where you're going and keeping that front of mind all the time. So we provide those tools. We also have all kinds of information here, but I'll move on to a couple more tools here. First of all, the sales representative agreement. So of course your agents are independent contractors with you, and as such they should be under agreement with you. And we offer this in a Word format, so you can take a look at it, edit it to the way you need it for your marketplace in your office, run it by your lawyer, and then you can use this in your office for your associates. The next tool is the Office Policies and Procedures Manual. This is almost like if you were to do a job description for your employees, for your administrator or your manager, where you're setting expectations right up front. In the Office Policies and Procedures Manual, perhaps you would include information on setting expectations for production and for conduct. So it would cover everything from when the office is open to the policy with regards to photocopies, to office equipment that they can use, and even things like agent safety. Anything to do with how your office would run and what your expectations are can be included in here, because that just eliminates confusion right off the bat, and all your agents should be provided one of these along with the sales rep agreement. And then of course we go on and have more information there as well. Then we talk in the week 3 about becoming an expert, and what we mean by that is ideally you want to become the individual in your marketplace that is known in the marketplace for really knowing your market and real estate in general, and specifically in your area. So for example, creating a website and having a presence right away as soon as you start is critical, because that's the first place people are going to look. And every brokerage and every agent actually is provided with a complimentary website as soon as they activate their office. We talk about creating social media channels, issuing regular press releases based on what it is that you're doing. So every time you recruit an agent, you issue a press release. And we actually have a press release software called Exit Shop Talk, and it's provided to you from Exit. We cover the cost for that, and there are template press releases. You can create custom press releases for all kinds of things. So it's a great complementary software that we encourage you to use. The idea here is to become the expert, so that you're sending press releases not every day and not for everything. It needs to be significant and it needs to be newsworthy. So be out there in the marketplace and be participating in events and sponsoring charitable organizations, and just become known. And that puts you in that position where if you're issuing regular press releases, when the press needs a quote on something related to real estate, you're the person they come to. That's what we're going for. And then we talk about Exit's blog, which contains all kinds of information that you can then share. You can sort of have your own social media information, of course, but continue to share everything from our blog and get that information out there about all the things that Exit is doing. We talk about our culture, of course, knowing your competition, which is critical. The Dirty Dozen, a group of people that work on the business, not in it, that are in your sphere, such as city planners and mortgage lenders and handy men and women and stagers, things like that. People who are working on the business, where you develop a relationship with them, and you help them with anything you can, and then there's reciprocity. So they help you as well, and it helps, again, extend your reach. And all of those people that you work with in terms of your Dirty Dozen or your sphere should be aware of Exit and should know about the differentiator and the single level residuals and understand what our business model is. So develop those relationships. And then our 6-week action plan is actually the brainchild of our CEO, Tammy Bunnell. And what she talks about here is the importance of sitting down and doing work on your business rather than in it, looking 6 weeks ahead, and actually maximizing every single opportunity to do so, whether it's an event or an appointment, etc. And it might not even be business related, but just to make sure that you're sitting down and you're planning, you're looking ahead and seeing what it is that you can do to maximize every opportunity. So that's what we talk about, just really getting out there and being a presence and becoming known. Week 4, we talk about our technology, and we have a whole lot. You'll see here a list of everything that we have to offer. And for example, MEMO stands for Managing Exit's Momentum Online, and that is our proprietary production software. It's our database, a repository of all of our information, and all of our offices have access to it to record their production. So I won't say any more detail about that because our franchise support manager, Derek Stevenson, has done a detailed demo on that as well that you, I'm sure, have access to. So I'll leave that to him. And also our VP of Technology Engagement, Annette Anthony, has done a webinar, a demo on all of our technology. So I'll leave her to go into detail. But as you can see, all kinds of programs and tools and resources available to our brokers and associates and administrators. In week 5, we talk about the exit formula, and we cover the fact that it is basically a business model, a philosophy, and a document. So in terms of the business model, we're talking about the idea that both the brokerage and the agents thrive. There are some models where the agents do very well, but the brokerage sort of struggles, and other models where the brokerage does very well at the expense of the agents. And our philosophy, or a business model, is that both those entities should do well. And when we talk about the commission splits, etc., we talk about both the agents and the brokerages thriving. So that's built in and written in to the exit formula. Then we talk about our philosophy, and this is, like I said before, about being holistic in nature, and that is that it's important to also recognize that the agents are not just as good as their last transaction. They have lives outside of their work, and we all know that real estate can be a 24/7 business, but we don't want it to be. We want the agent to be able to spend time with their family, or spend time with their pets, or travel, or have some leisure time where they can simply relax and know that their business is still taken care of, and that they still have the means to do so, because of course in exit we have 3 income streams. We don't just have taking listings and making sales, but we have that single level residual stream as well, and that's built in to that philosophy of the agent being able to retire someday. And that's the 10-7-5, 10% single level residuals, 7% retirement residuals, and 5% beneficiary benefits, because of course we want our agents to consider this a career that they can actually retire from someday, and they can leave a legacy and have peace of mind for the people that they leave behind. So, and of course it's a document that is contained in the sales rep agreement as well. Week 6, we talk about your recruiting plan. Of course, as the broker owner, you have basically 3 jobs: get, keep, and grow agents. That's how you're going to thrive. And so we have all kinds of recruiting material, whether it's material, print, packages that you put together and provide to people, whether there's digital recruiting resources. We have text codes and commercials and videos, etc., that you can provide. We have beautiful social media recruiting ads that you can pop in here, and you can use them for social media. Completely complimentary. You just grab them when you need them and use them. And then we go on with more information about presenting the exit presentation, our elevator speech, so that you've got that language down. You understand when someone says, "So what's exit all about?" You can answer that. You understand, and it's right at your fingertips. And then we talk about person-to-person recruiting as well, whether we're talking about doing a regular career night in your brokerage to draw people in, or even doing things like home buyer seminars where you have the public coming in, but other agents can come as well. So we talk about the person-to-person events, recruiting efforts. And then the recruiting system for brokers. This is kind of a sister resource to the business plan, whereas the business plan talks in high level about this is the numbers that you would like to get this fiscal year, and here's how you're going to reverse engineer to get there and attain that. Let's say you've determined in your business plan that you're going to need 30 agents working at a certain level. Well, the recruiting system is going to show you, okay, I need 30 agents, I've determined that, so how am I going to get those 30? And it's sort of a workbook that allows you to look at the various channels that you're going to use to reach out to those prospects, and challenges that you might encounter, and solutions that you can solve. So that's a sort of a companion to the business plan. So that is week 6. Week 7, we talk about agent management. Agent welcome packages, I'm going to talk a little bit about that when I go over the agent plan, and then all kinds of information here about agent onboarding, bringing people on. I'll talk about agent business tools when we talk about the agent portion as well. And then week 8, we talk all about our training, from broker owner training here in Toronto, which is complimentary to our brokers, and we encourage every one of them to come back every year. Ambassador training, franchise support training, all kinds of training. Most of this you'll see is also complimentary. There's some paid training here, but covering all kinds of training, from training on brokerages as well as agents and skill sets. So all kinds of training there. And then we just sort of conclude it with activities you can do every month and in conclusion. So that's the broker success plan. You can see there's a whole lot of information there, and I just want to now take a look at the agent success plan. So I'll make myself tiny and pull up the agent success plan here. And we'll take just a quick look at that. And it's basically set out the same way. So it's an 8-week track for your agents to follow to familiarize themselves with all of the tools available at their disposal as well. We have 2 versions. You'll see that this one is the agents who are new to real estate. So if you recruit agents in who are brand new out of school, then we've got information here that not only familiarizes them with their tools and resources, but also offers suggestions on a good and best practices for running their business and starting their business. But we also have an agent success plan for experienced agents who are maybe coming over from another brand, and so they don't need to know the very basics anymore, but they sort of hit the ground running when they join your brokerage. We want them to know the tools, but we want to get right to work. So again, we start out with a general information, such as how to reach out to franchise support here, who our franchise support team looks after brokers, administrators, and agents. And there's an actual person on the other side of that phone or the live chat from the resource center. And the responses are immediate during Monday to Friday. And this is one of the things we hear about all the time, is that it's just wonderful not having to reach voicemail or go through sending in a form to ask for help. You reach out, you talk to a person in franchise support, and the broker and the agent and the administrator get their answers right away. So we talk about all of that and give them information, again, our social channels, etc., etc. So let's talk about week 1 for the agent. So we talk about their roster code, that's their ID for exit. We talk about their welcome package, and I want to show you this. So every time an agent joins exit, they get a phone call from our franchise support team that I just mentioned. Every single agent gets an actual phone call from one of our reps to thank them for joining Exit, because we know they could have made another choice, and we're delighted that they've decided to join Exit. If they get voicemail, then our franchise support team will leave a message and just say, hey, I want to check in. Thank you for joining. If you need anything, let me know. And we have an orientation webinar that's run regularly, and so we always let them know that that's available to them as well. And then once we've sort of processed them and they're in the system, we send out an actual physical welcome package. I'm just going to show you. You see a picture of it here on the screen, but I just want to give you an idea of the pieces. So first of all, we have Steve Morris's books. So we have Accelerated Farming, talking about not being a secret agent. And these are just timeless information on how to be that agent in your area that is not secret, that people know about, how to market yourself, how to present yourself. And Steve's Born to be Exceptional, and the importance of being the best you and bringing it to your business. So Steve's books are included. Then we also have a 4-page flyer on, hey, where do you start? What are my first steps? What do I do? As you can see, we have a lot of tools and resources. It can be somewhat overwhelming to new brokers and associates. So we send them this flyer and say, here's where you start. And then we also, Steve Morris, our CEO, our chairman and founder, sends out a welcome letter thanking them for joining. It includes a little exit pin, as you can see here, and it also includes a little perforated wallet card that has their name and their roster code, so they always know what it is, and franchise support's contact information on the back, so they can always, at a moment's notice, even on their phone, just give franchise support a quick text and say, hey, where can I find this, or what do I do in this situation? So we've got that information as well. And then we have our little exit USB. So you can see here, got a little USB in there. And this contains our up close and personal video with Steve Morris, and that's about 18 minutes long, and it's talking about the story of how Exit came to be. Then we have our 4-minute million video, and that is a 4-minute long video explaining single level residuals, so that it's very easy to understand. Then we have our Expert Marketing Suite video, and that's a product that our associates can provide to prospective seller clients to show them everything that we have to offer in terms of marketing their listing, to position them in the best light and in the largest pool of buyers. We are Exit Realty. That's our commercial that's appropriate to put on social, etc. And there are 4 versions of that. So we have a 15-second version, a 30-second version, and each version has a different mood based on the music that is available. And then we have affirmations files here. And again, being part of a holistic philosophy means always having your best self top of mind. So we've got affirmations here that you can just pop the USB into your car, listen to it when you're driving. I actually listen to it when I'm walking my dog. I used to have my kids listen to it when I drove them to high school. Accelerated Farming, we have the audio version of Steve's Accelerated Farming marketing book, as well as all of the logo files that an agent or a broker would need. So that's a package that goes out, and there's also additional flyers and information. Physical flyer that goes out within about 3 weeks to help them and gives them first steps. And then we've got all kinds of first steps information you can see here. They too have a path to profitability worksheet, so we provide them with a blank, but in their case, the sample shows that this is the calculations they do to determine where they want to be in their business. How am I going to achieve and reach that financial goal? And then reverse engineer it and see what it is that they have to do on a regular basis. But we also talk about residual income, that single level residual income, where they can determine, okay, this is the amount of single level residual income I'd like to earn in addition to my commission. So how do I reverse engineer that? What do I need in terms of bringing members into Exit so that I can also receive that third income stream? So that information is there. We do talk about the training calendar and all of the training that's available to them for free, usually during via webinar or conference call. Again, all complimentary for them. All our Exit text codes, we talk about having a sales rep agreement. We tell them about their office policies and procedures. So that's just kind of the basics to get them familiar with first steps. And then in week 2, we talk about social. So every associate with Exit has a mobile business card, is assigned a mobile business card. They can select their vanity code that they want to have, and then just provide that to their sphere. And they can set that up right away. They too have a complimentary Exit website that they can set up again as soon as they're active with Exit. They can have an online presence, a good basic online presence there. Beautifully designed websites that we have for our people. Then of course we talk also about Facebook and social media, and either if they're brand new to the business, then we talk about getting those accounts set up. If it's the other plan and we're talking about experienced agents, we talk about making sure to update all your social media accounts, and of course advise your sphere that you've now moved to your new home at Exit. And then again, we talk about our action plan and creating that Dirty Dozen sphere of people that work on the business, not in it. We talk about in week 3 the importance of their database, both creating one and maintaining it. As you know, as a broker owner, their database is basically their lifeline, and they need to keep that up to date and maintained in order to really maximize all the relationships that they have. So we talk about that as well. In week 4, again, we talk about All About You, where we do talk about DISC. We talk about the power of affirmations, personal time, and again, the recommended reading list as well. And then we talk about the sellers and the buyers. And here, both for sellers, we have a listing presentation template that they can use and customize and provide to their seller. We have a seller guide, which is basically the listing presentation minus all the MLS comp information. And then we have the same thing for the buyers. We have a home buyer guide that they can use. Again, they can either print it off or it's digital, and they can provide that to their buyer clients or buyer prospects that they want to provide information to. Things such as, here are the tips you need to know if you're moving, or what are you looking for in a home. So we have those tools available for our agents. Week 7, we talk about sponsoring. Of course, this is the third income stream, single level residuals, and we talk about the 5 pillars of Exit. We talk about their elevator speech. So they too, if they encounter they're doing a co-broke with another agent, the other agent says, hey, what is this Exit thing? What's it all about? They're equipped to answer that question. We talk about how the money flows when it comes into the brokerage, and then how the agent gets paid, because that's what they care about. We talk about the Achiever, which is our online magazine. And this is a great piece that can be also printed off and just be a perfect handout for events that you might be doing. It contains information like how residuals have been used to help people go on vacations, help aging parents, things like that. True life stories from some of our associates who wanted to share that information with us about how those residuals are helping. But more than that, we just talk about our Exit culture. We talk about our convention and how we really do consider the agents the assets of the corporation. We really do put them first. And in Exit, the only numbers we really care about is increasing per agent production. We want this to be a career for our agents. We want to provide them with tools and information and knowledge that they need to really excel, because of course when they excel, you do as well, but so does their families. And the Achiever kind of embodies that philosophy of really honoring our agents. So all kinds of information on sponsoring, again, material and digital resources. We talk about our blog as well. And then in week 8, we cover training, everything that is available to our agents, both webinars and conference calls that are available complimentary every month from corporate trainers or head office folks, and franchise support, technology workshops with Annette Anthony. She travels all over North America doing hands-on technology training. We don't just create the technology, but we actually go out and we show people how to use it and how to maximize it. And then our sponsoring courses, our mindset training courses, which cover everything from field days, listing presentations, to ambassador training, etc., and more. So we talk about training, our convention, and then we talk about awards and upgraded memberships for when the time is right. And I'll say about our awards, we always give our awards at every convention, every October, every year. And our base level for an award is 25 ends, or 25 sides. And as with all things exit, our standards are always high. So whether there are production awards or whether there are standards for brokerages or agents, it's always high because we believe in bringing everyone's higher self to the table. So that's why we place so much value in our brokers and administrators and agents, because those are the kind of people that Exit attracts. It's why we're an introduction only company. You can't just join Exit. You're introduced and invited to Exit. And we're very proud of that. So I'll leave it there. I think I've gone about 20 or 25 minutes, so I think that's long enough for this session, and we've covered everything I wanted to do. So if you would like more details, if you'd like to arrange a conference call, have a chat with me, I'd be happy to talk to you. Just reach out to your regional representative. They can put it together for you. And in the meantime, I would just like to say that it's been a pleasure to spend this time with you, and I really hope that you join our Exit family. Thanks. Bye.